Marketing advice rated true or false. Facebook ads are dead. Facebook ads are not dead. It's actually the most suitable solution for about 70% of businesses. Posting every day guarantees growth. There are no guarantees in life. However, if you do post every single day, the odds and chances of your business growing and your social media presence growing, definitely true. Quantity will always win. Branding is more important than advertising. As you turn into a larger company, yes, branding changes the perception of your company. However, advertising is always the most truthful way to measure your business. False. TikTok ads only work for young people. That is completely false. Actually, TikTok ads is responsible for bringing in some of the highest paying clients. TikTok users on average spend longer on the platform, which means if you can convince them to purchase your product and in one sitting they can view multiple adverts from your company, definitely TikTok works for every kind of person. So false. Marketing agencies should guarantee results. Look, that's a tough one because I run a marketing agency, but guaranteeing results is a difficult situation. However, you can get your marketing agency to agree on some KPIs that you will judge their performance on. So we'll put this in true for now. Discounts are the best marketing strategy. Whoever told you that, they're probably out of business now anyway. So we'll put down that as false. Organic content is free marketing. Of course, goes without saying. SEO is dead. Some people are going to hate me, but SEO in the normal format on just Google search is dead. However, if you are optimizing for being featured in ChatGPT, AI overviews, and other AI LLMs, then absolutely SEO is not dead. So for this purpose, we'll put down false. SEO is not dead. A beautiful website gets more customers. That's 100% false. Actually, websites which are optimized for conversions, whether that's with reviews, easy CTAs, optimized upsells, bundling of your products and services, that is far more important than just having a beautiful website that just looks nice. More testimonials always helps. That is 100% true. The more reviews you can display, the more trust you can build with your customers, the easier making that purchase becomes for them. So that is true. Live chat increases leads. Live chat is a difficult one. In some situations, live chat can help answer a customer's question straight away and help make that purchase or grab that inquiry. However, live chat does have situations where if you do not respond fast enough, you can actually lose a customer who would have inquired or purchased off you in another way. So we're going to put down false for this one. Longer pages convert better. That can go both ways, true or false. However, if a longer page actually has more content and more substance, then yes, it can convert. However, most businesses try and actually cram certain information inside of their landing pages just for the sake of it. So we will put down true, but it's important to remember to keep the quality of your content on your website as high as possible. More information increases conversions. That's the exact same as the previous topic. So true. You should display pricing. So if you are able to display your pricing on your website, you should 100% do it. Whether that's from pricing or fixed pricing, that's up to you and your business, but for sure, you should try and display your pricing if possible. Home pages outperform landing pages. That is completely false. There's no doubt about it. A landing page is designed for conversions. It has everything you need for a customer to purchase or inquire with your business. However, a homepage is designed to look better and grab attention and is usually designed with SEO in mind first and foremost, rather than a landing page which is used to actually sell your services. Videos always increase conversions. That is 100% true. If you have a video, your CPMs may be higher, or when people come on your website, they will actually stay for longer, which increases the chances of conversion as they have consumed more of your content. They've invested into your business much more. So videos definitely do increase conversions, and you can do an easy split A/B test, an image versus a video in that same location. Every business needs online booking. 100% true. If you're a service-based business, you should 100% give them an option to make a booking with you, make an appointment with you, and convert online without having to fill in a form. It's 100% true. Forms convert better than phone calls. False. Phone calls actually convert way better because you picked up the phone, you can answer their questions straight away, and you actually reduce the gap between the call or the inquiry. If it's a form submission, they're filling in the form and then they're waiting back for you to call them. That time gap, that time delay can reduce conversions by 20 to 30% just off the bat. So trying to optimize your conversions on your website for phone calls is always going to perform better. Sales, true or false for your business? Following up more than 3 times is annoying. Yes, 100% it is annoying, but should you be doing it for your business? 100%. So yes, it is false. However, true, you should be doing it. So Yes, it's annoying, but I believe your business should be following up more than 3 times. So we're going to keep it in the true section. You should be doing it for your business. Objections mean the customer isn't interested. That is 100% false. Usually an objection means the customer doesn't agree with something based on their current situation, or they've had a bad experience, or they're just not comfortable with the current solution that you've provided for them. But you have to dive deeper into why they're objecting and what their objection is and what that true objection, where it stems from. The first person to respond usually wins. That is true, unless your pricing is abnormally expensive. Usually, if you pick up the phone first, you respond to the customer first, you will win the opportunity at a higher percentage. Scripts make salespeople worse. If you sound like a robot, if you sound scripted, absolutely, it will make your sales process worse. However, in general, if you are well articulated and you don't sound like you're reading a script, rather following a script, true. Salespeople are better with scripts. So scripts make salespeople worse. That is 100% false. Every missed call is a lost customer. That's true. If you don't pick up the phone, they will never turn into a customer for your business. People buy on price. Not always. Most people are buying to solve a problem, and price is a secondary metric that they use to compare the value that they are receiving from your business versus another business. If you two both achieve the same exact outcome and they are cheaper, in that sense, they should probably go with that company. However, if you can represent your value to the customer, then price becomes secondary. So we will put down, usually, yes, true, people do buy on price, and it's a tough reality that businesses have to come across. Email is the best follow-up method, in my opinion. No, a phone call, a meeting, or a WhatsApp or an SMS is always far superior than an email. Free quotes increase sales 100%. We work with plumbers, electricians, solar companies. If you can get on site, build a relationship with the customer at their property or at their site, free quotes will 100% increase your sales. Quoting faster always wins more jobs. 100%. If you can get the quote in front of your customer faster, it helps them make a decision faster. It helps that quote go up the food chain and make a decision much, much sooner. So true, customers know what they want sometimes, but more often than not, customers don't know what they want. They know what they're trying to solve, and it's your responsibility as a business to provide them with the best solution that fixes their problem and educates them on how this will help them fix their problem and will help them in the future. So false, customers do not know always what they want. Google Ads, true or false? More keywords equals better performance. It depends. If you're going with an exact and phrase match approach inside of your campaign, yes, more keywords can help as long as they are related to your services and you're not going broad for the sake of going broad. So we'll put it in true for now, but there are lots of caveats to this and requires a proper deep dive into which keywords you're actually adding, not just for the sake of adding keywords to get more clicks, because you'll get unrelated or cheaper services or cheaper inquiries. Brand campaigns are a waste of money. If you're a business spending less than, let's say, 6 figures a month on your advertising, branding campaigns are absolutely a waste of time. So true, they are a waste of time. Performance Max is good for tradies. Performance Max is not good for anyone spending less than 6 figures a month on their marketing. So false, it's not good for tradies. You should be running search campaigns. Higher CPC means worse campaign. Not necessarily. A CPC is based on how much it costs you to get your keyword in front of your target audience to enter into a specific auction. If you have a higher CPC, that usually means your quality score might not be the highest, or you're entering into an auction which is very expensive. Some keywords are naturally expensive because they're naturally more competitive than other keywords. So does a higher CPC mean a worse campaign? Not necessarily. If you're going in with the same auction, and you ideally want to have a lower CPC for that same keyword. So let's say true, a high CPC means a worse campaign with some caveats. Google Ads works for every business. Not every business, but 95% of businesses definitely can run Google Ads. So we will say true for this one here. Broad match is better than exact match. It goes against everything we believe in our agency. We stick far away from broad match as possible, and we try and stay as close to exact and phrase match as possible so that our clients get the exact kind of inquiries that they're looking for. So false. Google reviews are overrated. False. Google reviews are exceptional. You should be doing everything in your power to collect Google reviews, connect them to your website, connect them to your ads so people can see your reviews up front. You should pause keywords with no conversions. You should only pause keywords with no conversions if they have spent a huge amount and they are 3x your maximum CPA that your business would like to operate at. So if your maximum CPA would be, let's say, $100, ideally you should probably go in and pause that keyword once you've spent, let's say $300 and there have still been no conversions. If that keyword is responsible for a high value job or a very high lifetime value of a customer, in that case, you should keep it running because you only get a few of those inquiries a month, and pausing them could mean a lost opportunity. So we're going to go with false. So we're going to go with false for this. Search volume is more important than intent. False. Search volume you cannot control. You can always control the intent, and intention is controlled by the service that they need, the urgency that they have, and the action that they take to inquire with your business. So search volume is not more important. However, you do need a good amount of search volume to run any kind of search campaign on Google. You should always bid on your own business name. True. In some situations, when your website appears organically on Google, you don't control what are the site links underneath your organic listing on your website. Whereas when you run ads underneath your own business name, you can control the site links, the extensions, the headlines that appear next to your business, and portray yourself in a very specific way. So, and you can have the opportunity to appear twice. Once with the ads, once with organic if someone types in your name. So a very good superpower that you can use to control the way that your brand is portrayed and represented online. Next, Google Ads gets worse as competitors increase. No, Google Ads gets worse when your advertising sucks and you become lazy and complacent. So false. More traffic equals more sales. More traffic with the right intent definitely increases sales. So we'll assume we're talking about high quality traffic on this one and put this down into true. Nice even split. Operations, true or false? Every business should have a CRM. 100%. Yes, your business should have a CRM. You should be able to track your leads and opportunities. And if you don't, you should use an Excel sheet or a Google Sheets at the bare minimum. Process beats talent. False. I believe if you have talented people, they don't have to follow the process all of the time, as long as they understand what the final objective is and they use their intuition or they use their creativity to solve any problem. Automating a bad process makes it worse. True. If you're automating a bad process, it will go underneath the cracks even more. And if anything, it will cause more issues than doing the bad process manually. Documenting is a complete advantage. True. Documenting everything you do in your business, from the data, the analytics, the processes, the SOPs, can allow your business to scale and for you as a business owner to be away from the business more often than not. Standard operating procedures create better business. True. As long as those standard operating procedures are followed and documented well. Every KPI should have an owner. True. Every KPI should have a business owner that tracks it to ensure that you're always on track. Businesses track too many metrics. True. If your business is tracking the wrong kind of metrics like CPC or click-through rates or the average duration, the main metrics your business should be tracking are the financial metrics, which is the top and bottom lines and every single metric that gets you there and where the efficiencies lie. Delegation reduces quality. False. Usually when you delegate a task, that person now has full ownership of that task and they are now responsible for it, which means they usually will put more effort and time towards making sure the completion of that activity. Weekly meetings are a waste of time. True. Don't know how many times I need to say. You don't need to have a weekly meeting unless it's with your clients. You should be having hourly or half daily meetings regularly, a 5-minute chat rather than a half an hour or an hour's time just to sit down and catch up with the whole week. If you're a well-synced company or team, everyone should be speaking to each other every day. AI should replace repetitive admin work. True. Repetitive admin work that doesn't need a human should 100% be replaced. And that's not just automation, it's with AI that understands what's happening and makes decisions based on specific metrics and thresholds that you have set into these AI and automations. Google Ads advanced, true or false? Search terms should be checked daily. Yes, absolutely. If your marketing budget is more than, let's say, $500 or $600 per day, you have enough search volume and inquiries to go through them, clean them and optimize them. However, most agencies will typically do this every couple of days due to time constraints and resource availability. So we'll put that down into true if you have the capabilities to do that. Smart bidding should always be trusted. No, you should not always trust smart bidding. You should, as a media buyer, you should come in and adjust the bidding strategies depending on what the business goals and objectives are, which smart bidding does not understand because smart bidding does not sit in meetings with the business stakeholders. Impression share is a vanity metric. Most of the time true, however, false, because impression share lets you understand and see which companies you're competing with, and it will show you what impression share your ads show for the same keywords in the exact same auction. However, absolute top of page impression share, those are much more trackable and important metrics to count to see where your position in the auction is. Quality score is overrated. Yes, when a client looks at your ads and says the quality score is too low, in reality, quality score helps understand where your ads sit in terms of basic metrics, for example, click-through rates, conversion rates, unique headlines and unique ads, etc. So we'll put down quality score is overrated, true, because lots of clients look at it like it's the be all or end all in improving your campaign for your business, when that's not the reality. Target CPA limits business growth, true. Lots of businesses will think setting a target CPA is a good idea, but in reality, that can actually hinder their growth. For example, a client that came to us about 4 months ago was setting their CPA at $30, and in reality, they were preventing their business, their ads, from entering into auctions for high-end services, for concreting, for whole large driveways. They were losing out on those opportunities, which were $20,000+ jobs, only because they set their target CPA. So true, it can limit your business growth. Let your campaign have some flexibility to expand and grow. Auction insights should drive your strategy. False. Auction insights is a good way to see behind the numbers who you're competing with and understand where you currently sit, but that's not the number that correlates in any way to your revenue or your margin at the end of each month. Broad match reduces CPA, true, but you should never run broad match anyway. This is a true. It will reduce your CPA because you will get lots of time wasting inquiries. You will get job hunters. You will get free quotes. You will get people thinking you're the local government supplier of those services. True, but you'll get very low quality, so we're going to keep them in the far corner. Actually, you know what? We'll keep them on true, but you should probably not have them. So we're going to just put it far away into the corner, and you shouldn't do it. But it is true. Search campaigns outperform performance campaigns. True in terms of actual revenues to the dollar of ad spend. Performance Max will make it seem as though you're getting more impressions, more clicks, more views on your website. But in reality, they always have a lower revenue associated, attributed to the revenue, the ad spend for our clients in specific. Performance Max is great for 6-figure plus companies advertising on Google. Negative keywords become less important with AI. False. AI does not understand your business as well as yourself and the agency, the media buyers that you work closely with. You have to take this action manually and do it every 2 to 3 days to make sure that you're filtering through your negative keywords yourself. Higher CPCs can increase profitability. That's 50-50. If you have a high CPC, that means either your ads suck or you're entering into very expensive keywords, which is very competitive, and you have high cost per click. So we will put this down into true because you can land some very big jobs from a higher CPC, presuming you are entering into very specific niche and high paying keywords. Boardroom, true or false? Revenue without capacity is worthless. True in most scenarios. However, if your business has been around for a while, you probably have built relationships with contractors and subcontracting work. So revenue without capacity is worthless. I will put that down into false, assuming you can find the people to service. Operational leverage matters more than marketing. False. Even if your business is operating very well when your customers see how well fine-tuned your machine is, if you are not able to market your advantages to your customers, no one will know about your operational leverage and your benefits that your business has. So marketing is definitely more important than operational leverage. However, marketing with a faulty back-end system, a faulty operating model will not save anything. So you have to have both hand in hand. Sustainable growth beats rapid growth. False. I believe if your business is rapidly growing, you can find ways to sustainably grow, sustainably recruit, sustainably service your clients. It's a nice problem to have. However, I would always pick rapid growth over sustainable growth because you can add sustainability, you can add efficiencies back into your business by recruiting someone whose sole responsibility is to ensure sustainability and efficiency in your company. Market share doesn't guarantee profitability. True. By having 40% of the market, that doesn't mean you're the most profitable in the market. The more customers you service, usually you will become more efficient, which increases profitability. However, by having the highest market share, you now have additional responsibilities that other smaller businesses do not have. You have more branding you have to do, branding awareness. You have to maintain your reviews. You have to help unsatisfied customers more. You have a reputation to maintain. So not always, a market share does not always guarantee profitability. In fact, sometimes larger businesses actually acquire customers with a loss because they are confident in their lifetime value that they will generate from their clients. Most businesses underinvest in customer retention. True. I think customer retention is way more important than customer acquisition, because if you cannot retain your clients or your customers, then you're going to be in a constant flywheel of acquiring new customers and then customers leaving, constant filling up the leaking bucket. So focus the most amount of effort in retention, keeping those clients, which will help you with the cash flow to go and acquire new clients. And it doesn't have to be profitably anymore because you have not lost that MRR to go and acquire those people. Contribution margin is the most important financial metric. Well, no, but however, contribution margin is one of the most important metrics any business can track. However, contribution margin is one of the most key metrics when it comes to marketing. However, it's not the most important financial metric that your financial planner or your financial team would be looking at. CAC payback period is more important than ROAS. True. If your CAC payback window is, let's say, 2 months, and your ROAS is 1 or 2x return, for example. However, your CAC payback window is 2 months and the lifetime value of your customer is 12x, for example. In that situation, that is proof that your payback period is far more important than your ROAS. Customer lifecycle value is often calculated incorrectly. True. Usually businesses will not remove refunds and returns from their customer lifecycle value. Therefore, the final number that their data shows is not accurate. Gross margin matters more than revenue. True. Revenue is just the top line and doesn't show you how profitable or how well or how healthy your business is operating. So gross margin is more important than revenue. Incremental growth is overrated. False. Incremental growth is one of the most important things you should be tracking, and shows you how many new customers you're acquiring for your business every single month. And in fact, I think it's actually underrated and should be the most important thing every business focuses on. High-level marketing. The best marketers are actually system thinkers. True. I think marketers who think in terms of variations are outdated. You need to start thinking in terms of concepts and conceptualizing rather than just a variation of the same ads. Find concepts and build on those horizontally and then build vertically afterwards. Tracking accuracy is more valuable than campaign optimization. Campaign optimization is one of the most important things. However, without tracking accuracy, all of the numbers you're getting out at the end of your campaign are inaccurate. So tracking accuracy is the number one and the far most important thing when running any campaign on any platform. Marketing is becoming more about operations than advertising. False. Marketing's sole objective is to acquire new customers and incremental customers every single month for the business. Operations is responsible for efficiency and delivery of the services at a profitable margin, and work alongside the marketing departments to ensure that the CAC, the payback period, and the lifetime value of the customer matches with the unit economics of the business. The biggest marketing advantage is execution speed. False. Just kidding. True. Yes, if your business is able to produce marketing concepts at a high velocity, that means you're able to outcompete your competitors, produce more ads, test more variations, test new angles and concepts, and find a winner and be first to market more often than not. AI will commoditize marketing execution. False. AI will definitely work alongside marketers and marketing departments at ideation, at variations. However, AI at the moment is not good at creating concepts and variations because it does not have that larger context window on human behavior and human nature and how they would interact with your business and company. So if you focus your time and effort on concepts and concepts, AI can assist you with executing those variations, maybe generating different headlines on those ads. However, Meta, Google, they do now classify those variations as the exact same ad shown to the exact same person. Attribution is the biggest lie in digital marketing. True. Facebook, Instagram, Google, TikTok will always over attribute. More often than not, you can do things in your settings to adjust these. However, attribution platforms do say that their biggest advantage is better attribution, and they do say that their attribution tracking is correct. However, after going into hundreds of accounts, more often than not, it's not. So it's a big lie. Media buying is becoming a commodity. Media buying has always been a commodity. However, more often than not, there are lots of cowboys in the industry who are trying to make marketing very simple, and they're reading ebooks and thinking every marketing strategy is the same. However, going into your business, understanding the unit economics, the margins, the customers, the segmentation, the retargeting, if you have an advanced media buyer, then you can never replace them. So false. Creative is now the biggest competitive advantage on social advertising. True. Primary text, headlines, copywriting is becoming very heavily influenced with AI. So your creative concepts and your creative velocity and production suite is the biggest competitive advantage that your company has. Most agencies optimize for the wrong KPIs. True. if you've not had a conversation with them to discuss what's the most important metrics for your business. But we're going to put it down as false, as most agencies should be tracking against the right KPIs, as I'm assuming you've had the conversations with them to calculate the economics of your business. First party data is the future of advertising. First party data is the future of advertising. True. This allows you to have more tailored ads and marketing approach to your creatives when running ads. If you're able to spot trends inside of your Shopify analytics or your dashboards that specific customers are selling best to a specific demographic, that would be first party data. And you can use that to create bundles, to create offers, email marketing campaigns, SMS marketing campaigns that will create much more tailored campaigns and creatives towards your ideal customer. Marketing psychology. Premium pricing increases trust. If you've just increased your pricing for the sake of it to come across as premium, then false. However, if you have premium pricing because of what additional features your company can provide to the client, not just the product or service, for example, the customer support, the service, the after sales support, then true. Premium pricing alongside the benefits of that premium pricing definitely increases trust. Scarcity is overused. True. Everyone always says 1 left, 2 left, 24 hours left for this sale. Definitely used and overused, and customers are becoming much more smarter to that. However, if your scarcity is true, then it's fine. There are better ways of creating scarcity. For example, using words like our last restock sold out within 34 hours or 36 hours. Our new restock is back out, because subconsciously in the customer's head, a restock means that it sold out completely previously, which means that there are buyers, which means that they should probably check it out. So scarcity, you have to use it in a much better way. Authority beats discounts. True. If your business has reviews, testimonials, word of mouth, they've seen the company's van or products around the market, then true, authority beats discount, and the customer will be looking to just come to you based on your execution rather than your pricing. Features rarely sell products. True. I think the thing that sells products is the outcome, the benefits that the customer and the feeling that they have from purchasing your product or service. Features are nice to have, and they assist with the premium pricing. So if you have premium pricing, you can have additional features that complement the pricing and that assures the customer that these are additional things that the competitors cannot offer and your product has that they do not have. Customers don't know what they want. True. Customers, there's this famous quote from Steve Jobs that says, I will make what I want to make and customers will buy it. They don't know what they want until they use it, which more often than not is actually true. Customers want a solution to a specific problem. If your product solves that problem, then you tell them this is what you need to solve that problem, and now they want that. Logical buyers don't exist. False. Logical buyers do exist. And we work with them every single day. Some of our clients, best top performing clients, know exactly what they want. They want their block drain fixed. They want it fixed today. And logically, the closest company with the best price should always win. So logical buyers do exist. Social proofing is losing effectiveness. False. If you have genuine reviews on Trustpilot, on your Google reviews, or genuine image videography reviews on YouTube or on your website, then absolutely they will help you sell. And no, they're not losing effectiveness. Just lots of companies are posting fake reviews and customers are actually going out of their way to validate those reviews. So fake reviews, stay away from them. Trust is measurable. False. You can't measure trust. One way you could probably measure trust is by tracking first call to conversion. That would give you an indication that their customers have trust with your business, which is why they are purchasing off you the first time. Choice reduces conversions. True. If you have a lot of choice, you're increasing decision fatigue. And it's often found that women need more options before making a decision, whereas men only need 2 to 3 options before making a decision. So it's about tailoring the choices to your target audience to have the highest chances of conversions. Urgency should exist on every landing page. Urgency that is real, not fakely created urgency or scarcity, because customers will detect that and they will know that you are lying to them. So false. Urgency shouldn't exist on every page. However, urgency with a promotion or urgency with a buy this now and get this added to your bundle for free, or add a recurring subscription for this discount, that kind of urgency is the kind of urgency you should be aiming for.